Hi, my name is Cindy Noftel, and I teach mathematics at North Shore Community College. Today we're going to be looking at adding and subtracting decimals. Adding and subtracting decimals is just like adding and subtracting whole numbers. When you're adding decimals, you must first write the problem vertically. You always want to add digits that are in the same place value, so be sure to align the decimal points when you write the problem vertically. Then you add as usual, starting from the right. So in this example, we have 8 and 92 hundredths plus 12 and 34 hundredths. We want to add this sum, find the sum. So the first thing I'm going to do is write the problem vertically. Now notice, when I write the problem, I make sure that the decimals are aligned so that every number is under each other so we can add them easily. So when we add these two numbers, we get 2 and 4 is 6, 9 and 3 is 12. We'll put the 2 and carry the 1. And we get 1 and 8 and 2 is 11. And we carry 1 over, and we get 21 and 26 hundredths. Notice the decimal points are aligned, and you can just draw a straight line through them, and you will see that the answer, 21 and 26 hundredths. Let's take a look at subtracting decimals. Again, subtracting decimals is just like we did when we added the two decimals prior in example 1. First thing you should always do is just write the problem vertically and align the decimal points. Then you subtract as usual. So we have 23 and 45 hundredths minus 9 and 73 hundredths. Notice, I wrote the 9 under the 3 so that the decimal points will be aligned. And my answer, the decimal point, will be right in a straight line. So now let's subtract. 5 minus 3 is 2. Now when we go to subtract the 7 from the 4, we have to borrow. So this will become a 2, and this will become 14. 14 minus 7 is 7. 2 minus 9, once again we must borrow. So we're taking 1/10 and we're adding it here. So 12 minus 9 is 3. And then we have the 1 minus 0, which leaves 1. So our example of 23 and 45 hundredths minus 9 and 73 hundredths gives us a solution of 13 and 72 hundredths. When adding or subtracting decimals, this is one hint. You must always start with the digits to the right and then move to the left. If you are missing a digit as you write the number vertically, you can always put in a 0 as a placeholder. So in this particular problem, we have 114 and 2/10 plus 34 and 9 hundredths. Now when you look at this problem, you can see that I've written it so that the decimal points align, just like we did in example 1 and example 2. But notice, we don't have a digit above the 9. So we can always put in a 0 to make sure that we don't lose any place values and we don't confuse our columns. So now when we add, we haven't changed the number. We still have 114, and this is now reading 20 hundredths, but that's the same as 2/10. So let's add these up. 0 and 9 is 9. 2 and 0 is 2. 4 and 4 is 8. And 1 and 3 is 4. And 1. And you could put even a 0 here if you'd like. 1 plus 0 is 1. I find that I tend to put the zeros to the right of the decimal and not necessarily in front of the decimal. So that's our solution for example 3. And let's try the same process using subtraction. So we have 204 tenths minus 74 and 29 hundredths. So notice again, what's the key? We don't have a digit above the 9. So we want to make sure we fill it in, and we align our decimal points. So when we subtract, now we can subtract as usual, just like when you're dealing with whole numbers. So we'll need to borrow 1 from here, and we have 10 minus 9 is 1. Again, we have to borrow because you can't take 2 away from the 1. This makes that 11. 11 minus 2 is 9. And again, we're borrowing. I made this a really hard problem, I guess. So this is a 0. Since I can't borrow from the 0, I'm going to have to take 1 from the 100. So we make that a 1. This became a 10. And when we borrow this one, 9 and 13. My, that was really complicated. But in life, we get really complicated problems. So 13 minus 4 is now 9. 9 minus 7 is 2. And 1 minus 0. And if you really want to, you can put the 0 in this place. But this time I'm not going to, just because. As long as I have it to the right of the decimal, I'll be fine. So this is our solution, is 129 and 91 hundredths. Okay, so now it's time for you to do a little bit of work. So what I'd like you to do is try to solve the first problem, 57 and 2 hundredths plus 119 and 265 thousandths, and then try the subtraction problem. Pause the video and good luck. Okay, so let's see. We are attempting to add 57 and 2 hundredths plus 119 and 265 thousandths. Notice again, our plan is to always align the decimals. Wrote the problem vertically, align the decimals, and what was the last thing I asked? I asked to fill in a 0 to the right of that decimal so that we align everything properly. So now we can add as usual. 0 and 5 is 5. 8 is 2 plus 6. 0 and 2 is 2. Our decimal point. 7 and 9 is 16. Carry the 1. 1 and 5 and 1 is 7. And 1. So our answer is, I'm going to move that decimal point down here just a little bit. It's a little bit too high for me. So we have 176 and 285 thousandths as our solution. I hope you got the same as me. If not, why don't you check your work? Now, for the second problem, it's a subtraction problem. So we have 87 and 13 hundredths minus 14 and 792 thousandths. So step 1 was to rewrite the problem. It's essential that you rewrite the problem so you can align the decimal points. We said that we have to align the decimal points so that our answer will have the decimal in the proper place. We also suggested that you add a 0 to the right of the decimal to make sure that each digit, there's a digit in every place value. So now, again, we're going to start at the right and you move to the left, just like you do in regular subtraction of whole numbers. So 0 minus 2 from 0, we have to borrow. So we're going to change that to a 2. 10 minus 2 is 8. We're borrowing again. So we make that a 0, and we have 12 minus 9 is 3. And we're borrowing again. And 10 minus 7 is also 3. 6 minus 4 is 2, and 8 minus 1 is 7. So our answer is 72 and 338 thousandths. So check your work and see if you got the same answer as I did. And if you didn't, go back, try it again. It might have been just a small mistake. Well, good luck as you work through adding and subtracting decimals.